Who came out on top of this game? The Arsenal. Now, with that out of the way, Arsenal won this game in what I would like to call classic Arsenal style. Both the Giants went toe to toe in this game, with City looking to extend their lead and their grasp on the title, while Arsenal are fighting for a spot in Champions League football. So, how did the Gunners come out on top of the Citizens? Now, before we begin, I'm going to do that really annoying thing where I ask you to subscribe before I even give you any value, so make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Arsenal and Man City both started out this game in a 4-2-3-1, but the way they used it was completely different. Now, Arsenal may have started out this game in a 4-2-3-1, but they quickly shifted into a 3-2-2-3 formation during the game. There was a slight change as well, with Olivia Smith leading the line and Alessia Russo this time playing as the number 10. For those of you who don't know what the 3-2-2-3 formation is, it's basically when one of two things happen. One, the fullback moves into midfield and forms a box in the center, or two, the winger pushes into midfield and forms a box in the center. In this game, both options were used as Katie McCabe and Beth Mead both took turns to form boxes in the center with their midfielders. This was also the formation that Slaggers used when they played against Chelsea last week, and the reason why Slaggers loves this formation so much is because it gives you a lot of control in the midfield. Regardless of whether the opposition plays a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2, or in this case a 4-2-3-1, the Gunners will always have more players in midfield because they'll always have a midfield of 4. And since Arsenal is a ball-playing team, as we'll talk about in a second, this control in the midfield is crucial for their build-up. If we take a look at this clip, we can see that when Arsenal do win the ball here, they not only have 4 players in this area, but also acres of space. Now, Man City aren't necessarily doing anything wrong. They are in their formation. But because their formation only consists of them having 2 players in the center, Arsenal have vastly outnumbered them. Laura Blinkadil-Brown is here as she's acting as the CDM, and Yui Hasegawa is on Kim Little's heels. Hasegawa isn't able to win the ball off Little, which allows Caldente to pick it up and play an amazing weighted pass into the path of Olivia Smith, creating a chance on attack for Arsenal. Now, there's another very important piece to the Arsenal's attack that I'll talk about in a second, but first let's talk about Man City. Now, Man City also lined up in a 4-2-3-1, and it was the similar 4-2-3-1 they had used when they had beat Chelsea. And if you want to know how that worked out, check it out here. But essentially, Man City had a more direct approach when it came to attacking. Where Arsenal were trying to lure the Citizens in by passing the ball around and finding a gap, City preferred to beat 2 of the Arsenal front lines by either playing the ball straight to the center or launching it straight to their target man. This was a similar tactic that they had used against Chelsea, but this time they were not all too successful with it, and I would have to give that credit to Arsenal. Now, if you're enjoying this and you would like to go deeper, make sure you get my free tactical ebook in the pinned comment down below. One of the key differences of how Arsenal and Chelsea played was how they chose to deploy their midfielders. In Chelsea's 5-1 defeat to the Citizens, Chelsea had used a 4-1-4-1 formation. Kiara Walsh was the holding midfielder in the game, and I did mention how she did not receive as much support as she should have from her fellow midfielders. Kaptan and Cuthbert were both pushing forward constantly, which left Walsh all alone to cover all this horizontal ground. And because of this, City was able to play long balls over and over again into their target man, and their target man was able to either turn on the ball or then lay it off for a third-person passing combo. Arsenal, on the other hand, fixed this issue by staying really compact in the center. Here we see that despite Bunny Shaw getting on the header, Arsenal are really tight in their defense. Every City player has an Arsenal player marking her, which makes it really hard for City to find a breakthrough. Compared to this clip, we can see how open Chelsea were when City played the long ball, which then allowed them to start an attack. I did mention earlier that there was a very important piece in the Arsenal attack that I think separated them and then eventually allowed them to come out on top in this game. And I'm going to show you a clip, so try and see if you can spot what Arsenal are doing so well here. Beth Mead receives the ball here and drops to pass the ball into Lotte Wubben-Moy. Wubben-Moy then drives forward, playing the ball into Caldente. Caldente plays a first-time pass into Kim Little, and with 3 passes, Arsenal have already taken out 5 Man City players. But did you spot how it happened? No? Well, here's another one. Kim Little receives the ball from her keeper, and since pressure isn't immediate, she is allowed to turn. She passes it to Emily Fox, and with one pass, Fox is able to find Russo. Now, Russo doesn't get to the ball here, but the intention is the same. This is known as the third man passing pattern, and Arsenal pulled it off really well in this game. In fact, most of the chances that they created came from passing patterns like this. In this clip, Lotte Wubben-Moy plays the pass into Beth Mead, who then plays it first time into Emily Fox. Fox then plays a simple but not easy pass forward into Olivia Smith, who then gets the better of Kanak and is able to create a scoring opportunity for herself. Although I'd argue she should have passed it to Russo. In all these clips, we see the same pattern emerge again and again, and Arsenal use this lavishly throughout the game against City. In fact, this is how Arsenal actually scored the only game of the game as well. Steph Catley passes the ball to Caldente. Caldente receives it on her back foot and plays it into Kim Little. And although one could argue that this is more of a 1-2 passing pattern than a third man pattern, the idea is the same. Caldente is then given space to run into, and she is able to pick out an exquisite pass for Olivia Smith. Smith does really well to win the race and then calmly runs around the keeper to slot it home, giving Arsenal the win. Now, despite this loss, City are still 8 points clear on top of the league. The league leaders would be disappointed that they couldn't come off with a win, but I don't think anyone is going to be catching them anytime soon. Arsenal, on the other hand, played amazing tactical football, and the results speak for themselves. With the game still in hand, they could very well climb to the second rung of the ladder. Thank you for watching. I hope you've gained something valuable from this video.